On the 105th anniversary of Emily Davison's death, we are going to investigate the events leading up to the tragedy and if she did actually intend to die for women's rights. Davison is well known for her infamous death, which led to the division of opinions into if she intended to die on the 4th of June in the year 1913. To further our investigation, we sent our researcher, Zaid, to the Wolverhampton archives to talk to writer and researcher of the Suffragettes, Louise Palfreyman.
Who is Emily Davison and what is she famous for?
Emily Davison is one of the most famous suffragettes. She's the one that people talk about because she ended up under a horse. Now, how that actually happened is still up for debate, I think, but she is one of the leading campaigners. She's one of the ones that went to prison. She's one of the ones who was most fervently into the cause and inspired a lot of the other suffragettes just by her passion and her fervour. So she had a short but very dramatic life.
She was part of the suffragette movement. What did they believe in?
Well, they hooked everything on votes for women. For this particular era, we are talking about like single issue politics. So single issue politics is hooked on one cause. Yeah, it basically enables you to inspire a movement and inspire a body of people.
Emily's death was not portrayed as positive for the suffragettes due to the media in 1913, but is so significant now. Why do you think this is?
Because she was a figurehead, and because anyone who dies a tragic death ultimately gets, I suppose you'd say a bigger star in the Hall of Fame. They're just up there. They become iconic, and if there's mystery or disagreement about how they died, then obviously that elevates their status, and it certainly gives greater impact to their legacy.
Why do you think Emily chose the Epsom Derby for the next public act?
Because it was so public, because it's such a massive meet, because it's going to have the eyes of the press on it, the public's there, it's got a huge crowd, it's got royalty there, I think, yeah? So, everybody's there, everybody's going to see it.
They say that the reasons for running into the King's Horse was unclear. What do you think was the purpose?
She wanted to bring the cause to a wider audience by doing something very noticeable. It's what in our terms would be called a PR stunt, isn't it, really? But it just went horribly wrong.
What items was she found carrying with her on the day?
So she certainly had material on her. So, she'd gone there with a political aim, which sort of proves that she was there to, stir things up in some way. So I suppose if you're looking at what she had on her person when she died, you're looking for the factors that brought her to the racecourse and whether there was like a premeditated element to it. The flags are the kind of insignia of the movement, and again, if you put a modern day slant on it, she wants to brand the races, or rebrand them, so she wants to get out her insignia and basically sort of reappropriate the horse race and actually stick a suffragette label on it. That's her visible kind of aim, I think.
5 years after the incident, it was introduced that certain women over the age of 30 could vote. Do you think Emily's death got the attention that they needed for the government to allow women to vote?
I think there was lots of other stuff going on that would have contributed to the result. I think it's dangerous to sort of pin everything on one happening. Yes, in some respects, what happens to our figureheads is important, but it's not the whole story, is it? So obviously there's a huge amount of work going on across the country. We can't just say it was one person, one act, one event in history that led to the victory.
Do you believe Emily Davison ran on the Epsom Derby racecourse to die?
I think it's fairly extreme to, throw yourself under a horse. I don't think it was deliberate. Looking at the angle at which she fell and looking at the fact that she had these rosettes, these flags in her coat, would suggest that her aim was to pin the rosette on the horse or pin the flag on the horse.
Do you think her death was a tragedy or a brave act?
It could be both. I mean, a tragedy can be a brave act, can't it? So you don't have to separate the two. It's a brave act regardless of what the outcome was, because she chose that very high-profile public event to make her point. So it was brave, whatever. If she'd lived, it would still have been brave.
Thank you for your time, Louise.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
With our research and the use of current technology, analysts have examined the original footage of Davison's death and have found she did indeed have the intentions of placing a suffragette banner on the king's horse and not to die. This was an act of misadventure which steered to the sacrifice of the famous activist Emily Davison.